Jason. I'm here from Experiences in Channeling. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you again. What I wanted to do today, I wanted to come on just to check in, say hello to everyone. Apologize a bit for my last video that I took down, actually, because I felt it was a bit too judgy. And yeah, and talk about a few other things. So yeah, so first of all, what is Experiences in Channeling? It's just that. It's been my experiences in channeling. The title of, or the name of this Experiences in Channeling was not my idea. It was given to me by my guides. I wanted to choose a cooler name that would be more catchy, but they said Experiences in Channeling is the best name for it. And I found that it really is, because it's been my experiences, and I've been learning. Just like anything that you do, especially, spiritual process, creative process, any kind of thing that you learn, it's not something that you just learn and you just give up on it. It's a continual process. The learning process, the creative process, just the process of living is continually learning. And that's what I found that this process has been all about. So let me first address my first video, or the last video. So in the last video, I was talking about integration, and that integration is the way out. And I still firmly believe that this, for me, is a very, very, with a strong conviction that this is true, that integration is the pathway forward. So we live in here I always bring up this yin and yang symbol, and many of you might go, why does it keep bringing up the yin and yang? I just think it's a really, really accurate representation of our world, of our third dimension. We have the light side and the dark side, but then there's a little bit of dark in the light, and there's a little bit of light in the dark. And so they're playing their sides, right? And we are in a very polarized time where everyone's fighting against everyone else. You can say one word or two words, and you can make like an enemy out of someone that was a friend for years. And it's that easy. That's how polarized we are. We're fighting over words. It's kind of reminds me a bit, and this is, so there's a show called Rick and Morty, and I think that's the name of it, Rick and Morty, and it's actually very, very gross. I actually don't recommend it in that sense, because it's just it's a bit too much, and I think sometimes it's really, way out. But there was this one episode where they were talking about they traveled to another dimension or somewhere out in space, and there was this one planet. It was filled with snakes, and the snakes they had this big problem with racism. And it was like, snakes were, and from a human point of view, they're all snakes. It's like, anyway, so that's a side note. I really don't recommend that show though, because it is actually quite dark, actually, to tell the truth. But so, what I wanted to say though is that, so we have these two sides. We have the light and the dark side, and there's a bit of both in each. But there's this in-between side, right in the middle. There's this, not a side, but right in the in-between, and that is the neutral path. That's the path that we can go down when we're not in one side or the other. Because if we're fighting, if we're kind of in warfare, then we are not conscious, and we will continue to fuel this symbol, yin and yang symbol. And if that's what we want, fine. That's not what I want. I don't want to. I want to graduate from this symbol. I want real peace and real love, not this, everything's one side or the other. And the in between path is the closest way, the closest path to that we can get to in this planet at this moment. And that's the path of forgiveness, and that's the path I believe that Christ taught, and I believe it's the path that the Course in Miracles teaches, and that Buddhism also teaches, is that middle path. And that's the real secret of all of these religions, is that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to find a path in between. But the point of my other video was that for me, so I can only speak for myself, in this situation, but for me it's really important to not look away from everything that's happening. And so there was at the time I made the video, there was a lot of talk on the internet, on YouTube, and all these different places from spiritual leaders, I would imagine, from spiritual leaders talking about not looking into the darkness, or trying to hide from it, trying to look away from it. And so, and for me, that really triggered something, because my whole thing is looking at it. I want to look, I want to see. I don't want to hide myself from it anymore, you know. I want to see it. I want to know. I'm ready to know, and ready to let it go. I'm ready to try to understand what's going on in the world. But what I didn't realize, or what I kind of realized but I didn't want to realize, is that we're all at different places in our lives. And some people are ready for it and some people aren't. And that's fine. Everyone's got their own thing. And that's all. But for me, it was a strong conviction. It's just something I feel for myself is very important to do. Not that I think other people should do it. It's just that for myself, it's very important to me. And so I felt like with these videos, they were talking to me, and it's like, no, I'm not going to close my eyes. And that was that. I think that's the kind of whole point that I was kind of bringing forth, and I went a little too far with it, and so I wanted to apologize for that, and just bring it back to the point that it's just, for me, this is very, very important. I know everyone's at their own places where they need to be, and that's, everyone's where they are, and where they are where they need to be, and so it's not my place to judge or to say, you know, you should do this or shouldn't do that. Just for me, I have a strong conviction that I would like to see, and I wanted to bring up, because of this. So the two kind of teachers that I had, the two main kind of was like the Course in Miracles, with Tina Spalding teaching the Course in Miracles, and then another one was this one, Jalila Starr's. Jalila, she has the Niburian Council, and she has this thing called the Formula of Compassion. And I recommend it if you are interested in this, if you're working through forgiveness and these sorts of things. I find that this works really well with the Course in Miracles. Course in Miracles gives you that really strong foundation when you do the daily lessons. Really helps you to look at every single instance in your life and where you're judging, where you're kind of holding things against the world, and it really kind of clears out your mind a lot. And then this is also really good too. The Keys of Compassion. It teaches you how to look on everything that happens to you. So it's a similar idea that everything that happens to you is an expression of things that are inside. And it shows you how to get to the point of compassion. So it breaks it down into, how many steps are there? 7 steps. And they're just wonderful. And I love the 4th step, hold on to nothing and you'll have everything. That's one of the major points I think of her teaching is that hold on to nothing and you'll have everything. We tend to, when we want to hold on to something, when we want something, we tend to hold on to it. I don't want to lose this, I don't want to lose this, I don't want to lose this. And that's when you lose it. But if you just let go and just let the universe, all right, universe, show me what to do. Another beautiful part of this Formula of Compassion is, here's the dancing with the dark. The dark serves the light. We always assume that all these things that are happening in our world are happening to hurt us, and it's bad and it's wrong and everything is just But a lot of times what we see a lot of times what's happening is it's a playing out of dark and light to help us to see the darkness that's inside of us. And so I just wanted to share her stuff. If you're interested in her stuff, she's an amazing teacher. She's my teacher, and she what was the other thing that I wanted to share from her? She has a wonderful history too of the 3 Earth Grand experiments. It's great stuff. I mean, it's wonderful. It's amazing stuff. If you're interested in finding what is the word? Finding I can't think of the word. Well, if you're interested in finding a really good way of trying to understand what all the stuff that's happening at the moment in the world, I think she's a really good place to go to. So I wanted to share that. Understanding that everything that's happening in our world is just that. It's just a playing out of 2 sides. And hey, Michael. Hey. And I had that former video, and then I actually had something in my personal life that happened to me that really stopped me and really made me realize again, like, wow, we are all at different places, and it's not my place to say where anyone should be. And so it's funny how the universe just shows you things. It's just like, oh, right, I understand. I got it. So I wanted to talk about that, that everything that's happening on our planet is happening for a reason, and there the dark is always working for the light, and we're not talking about the yin and yang light, not this light, but we're talking about the light of love. That everything on this planet is working for God, even though they don't realize it, and we don't realize it. And a lot of, bringing in the Course in Miracles ideas that we don't know what anything's for. We don't know the full plan. We don't know what God's plan is for everything. And so if we just jump in and say, well, no, this is God, we don't know. We don't know. So all we know is, we know where we are right now. Where are we? I'm sitting in a room, right? It's raining outside. It's early spring. That's all I know. My shoulder's kind of hurting from playing too much guitar. Whatever. These are the things we know. We know that if we follow our hearts, we know that these sorts of things, these are the things that we can really, really know. And we all have our paths, and that's, I think, the main message of today's video is just that we all have our own paths, and it's fine, and it's beautiful, and it's wonderful. And for me, okay, before I go into that, I'll just go into. So for me, recently, one of my main the callings that's been coming up to me is clearing spaces, and this has been kind of a theme for me for the past few years. Of when I'm sure all of you have this feeling, that in your town or wherever it is you live, you'll find like there's certain places that just don't feel so good. Like, oh, there's something, and maybe there's no visual representation of it. It's just like a normal part of town, but there's just something, you just get this like sinking feeling in your stomach, like, oh, I don't know about this place, something feels wrong. And this is something that I've, ever since I was a kid, I've used to feel this a lot. And I remember like when I was like 9 or so, driving around with my parents in the car and thinking like, oh man, this place doesn't feel right. And thinking like, how would I know that? So it is just that, you're just sensing the energy of a place. And so I've been clearing a lot of spaces, a lot of the places that I work at, a lot of the places that I live in tend to, when I first get there, the energy's not so good. And what happens when the energy's not so good is it just makes people feel bad. They maybe feel sick all the time. There's a lack of hope. There's a little bit of depression. There's anger. There's all those different things there. All the things, that are in the dark. And so what my calling has been to just bring the energy of those places to neutral, not to charge it into like super positivity or anything like that, just to bring it to neutral so that the people there can make their choice on their own energy. And that's, I think, fitting for our world at this moment. It's not about like making everything super joyous. It's about making everything neutral, so then you can decide which path are you going to take. It's not my decision to make a choice about which path you're going to choose. But if the energy is neutral, at least you have the ability to make a decision on your own, not being influenced by the energy around you. And so that's what I've been called to do. And I find, so one of the places I teach guitar at, well, two of the places, but the one place, they closed the studio down. But the other place is, and I think the energy there is a lot clearer, but it was dark for a while there. Every time I would go to the studio, I would, you'd feel really wonderful. And then you get to the studio and you start crying. You just feel so depressed and hopeless, and what's the point of the world, and what's the point of anything, what's the point of living, all these kind of things. It's just like, this is not my energy. this is this building. And so the other place I was teaching was that way for a while, but that I've recently cleared it out a lot, and I've found that the energy's actually seeped into the rest of that little part. It's like a small part of a town. It's in the middle of the city, but this little part of the city, and the energy there has shifted. It's a lot lighter, and it's a wonderful feeling. And that's all. And I'm not doing anything special. I'm just being in that energy. And when I first got into that space, I was actually channeling a lot of the beings that had been trapped in that space that area. But now it's just kind of taking long walks around the area and just kind of just being in, just bringing the energy to that place. And again, it's not about warfare in the sense that, I mean, it's called spiritual warfare in that sense, but it's not really warfare in the sense that if you fight, you lose, because it's not about fighting something. It's about legal rights, that whatever it is that's there feels a legal right to be there. And so what you're doing is just breaking the legal rights of that and saying, no, 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 we come from the light, and we have an ability. What's the word? We have legal right over this. So the light has the legal right, and that, so whenever the dark is inhabiting a place, they're squatters. And so what I do is just come in and say, I'm here with God. We're here with God, and we're bringing the light to this place. And they understand that, and that, well, sometimes they don't, and sometimes it takes a while, but that's all it is. It's not fighting. We're not fighting anything. We're just stating that the love has come. And so, yeah, and so there's a lot more hope in that space. So that's something that I've been going down recently. I've been studying a lot of the symbology, and before I was just kind of going into places and clearing them and not really understanding how everything worked. I just knew that something's wrong here, and there's all these like beings that are coming, and they want to tell me their story. But recently I'm understanding that it actually is, there's a very, very comprehensive way that these places will be turned into kind of a negative place, and it's a system, it's used. And so once you understand the system, it's not about fighting. You're not going into any place and fighting or anything like that. This is not your fight in the sense, not our fight in that sense. This is the fight of God. And so it's just kind of going into spaces and saying, the love has come. We've brought love to this space now, and we're just raising the energy back to neutral, because that is the nature of this planet, neutral, right? We have the two sides, and we have the pathway in between. So I've been studying the symbology and how it works, and I now really can spot it now throughout the town that I live in and all the places, and I understand how it works. And that led me in my other video too. I was talking about Tartaria, the concept of this civilization that used to exist, that doesn't exist now, or it used to exist but it was buried, and the information was buried basically. And so understanding, but actually I don't want to go into that, but but there's a lot of symbols out there, and understanding the symbols, and then just clearing. And that's what I've been called to do recently, and that's why I was so, I think, triggered by that. Don't look into the dark. It's just like, that's what I've been doing, because I'm trying to figure out how to clear it and how it works. And so for me, it's like my mission. So it's really important. And so so that's what I wanted to say about that. One of my missions is just to clear the energy. I'm sick of these hopeless, sad places. I want the world to be a place of hope, a place of neutrality, a place where the energy's there and you can choose hope. Because a lot of times when the energy's tuned to the negativity, you can't even choose hope. I mean, you want to, but it's so draining that So, and I personally, and this is, I just don't think it's fair. So I want to change everything to neutral and make it fair. That's all. And that's what I've been called to do as well. So it's just a personal conviction. I wanted to share one other thing. So I went to, I was taken to I had no idea what it was, and I was taken to this thing. There's something called Metatron, and named after the Archangel Metatron. And this is a device that was created in Russia, and according to what I was told, it was created for the Sputnik, created for the, if I'm getting that right, the Soviet astronauts when they were traveling into space. They didn't have access to like medicine or doctors and things like that, and so they developed this device that could heal them when they're in space for long periods of time. And I think there's another device made in the States called the Spooky device, I think, and it's similar to this, but this I think it's a little bit more comprehensive. I don't know. I think it's the same idea though. Where the Spooky device, I think you hold on to two different these two poles, but this one you put on this headset thing here. Can you see it? Yeah. You put on this headset, and you put it on, and then it reads out everything in your body, and it'll go through its bioresonance NLS diagnostics, so reading, processing, analyzing of information from the output of electromagnetic waves issued by the human body, including DNA and chromosomes. Bioresonance makes it possible to precisely define the character, origins, and degree of potentially harmful processes decoded by Metatron during a diagnostic session, and forecast future health dynamics. So here are the bioconductors that you put on. They measure the state of all the cells in the body. So activity of bacteria, parasites, other infectious agents. Yeah, so it's pretty interesting. Yeah, so here's all the different things that it shows. It shows you everything. It shows you all the foods that you are compatible with, the foods that you're not compatible with. It shows you all of the different parts of your body where you might have issues, where you don't have issues, these sorts of things, what to look for. It also talks about your emotional state as well. And that was the interesting part for me. What came up the most for me was in Japanese they call it gifun, and then in English it's called righteous indignation. So this device was picking up my righteous indignation, and it is something, and this is something that I work with my forgiveness practice a lot every day. Just working on, for example, I've talked about this on the train, and people, I'm living in Japan and the culture is a little bit different, and I still have not been able to kind of fully jive with the idea, of pushing people on the train and these sorts of things. It just still just doesn't work with my brain somehow. And I try, every time it happens, I bless you, I bless you, I bless you, I forgive you, I forgive you. In my mind, I'm saying this, and so it's funny that picked it up. And so we all have our big issues to work on, and this machine just like picked it up like that, and it's wow. But anyway, very interesting device. And what it does too is after it reads everything, all of the issues, it will shift everything. So for example, if you have a part of your body that's not quite aligned, it will align it again. So it's pretty amazing technology. And this really is, I think, the future of medicine. And it's based on the same, it's basically Chinese medicine, but with a device, and it. So I wanted to share. So speaking of Chinese medicine, something that I've been really into recently is this. This is hold on, yeah. IQ-Day is kind of like the famous Japanese brand for moxibustion. I'm not sure if you guys have done moxibustion, but what it is as you know, it's acupuncture, acupressure. You have all of these different lines on your body, and they relate to different bodily organs. And so when you, for example, if you have an issue, you can look it up online and find out what the point is, the moxibustion point or the acupuncture point is that needs work. And so, for example, like I do it every day on my kidneys, and then on my knee, and then on my hand. There's two places. Yesterday, for example, I was feeling really nauseous, and I just put it over here, and it's actually quite helpful, I find. And so it looks like this. It's just these little. Oh, sorry, you can't see that. I zoomed in on my screen, but not on yours. Yes. Let's see if I can. Ah, yeah, they look like this. And it's just what it is it contains mugwort. It's like mugwort, and then there's like a paper, almost like a little cigarette kind of thing, cigarette paper around it, and then at the bottom there's a ceramic. This is just ceramic, and the ceramic heats up from the mugwort, and the mugwort is very healing. So the smoke of the mugwort, and then in addition to that, the heat is what brings about the healing. And there's another method where you could do this, like what I, when if I go to the actual acupuncture clinic, they'll do it, but I still haven't gotten the courage to do it yet. But this one works just as well for me. So yeah, so it's interesting. It's really interesting for me that like a 5,000-year-old medical technique is coming back again, and even the Western world is coming. So that what I showed you, the Metatron, and then also that spooky. What is it called? I think you guys probably know what I'm talking about. Probably are using it already, but spooky 2. It's called Spooky 2, and it's actually affordable, actually. The Metatron thing is, I asked the woman how much it was, and I think it was like $200,000 or something like that. So just, yeah, not something you could get. But this is the it's all based on the Rife concept. Royal Rife is a man who pioneered frequency healing, and again, like back in the 1940s, 30s. So yeah, this is the spooky Rife thing. I've been I really want to get it, but I have to save up for it. But yeah, but this technology is what's coming up, and this is what they're gonna call telehealth. They haven't started talking about it too much, but there's hints being dropped where they will be able to cure your body using these techniques. But it's just they haven't revealed it completely yet, but it's coming, and you'll see it probably soon. But it's interesting because it's just it's just like going to the acupuncture clinic. It's the same thing. The root of all of our health issues is based not on, oh shit, I'm not supposed to be talking about health here. They're gonna like cut me off here. I am not a doctor, and this is all for entertainment, right? Yeah. But so according to the Chinese traditional method, this concept of viruses and cancers and all of these different things doesn't come from what we think it is. It's not localized in one place. Like if you get cancer in one place, it doesn't mean that place there's something wrong with that place. It means that there might be something wrong with that line. And so if you clear out that line through your diet and through acupuncture and through exercise, you might be able to deal with that issue rather than actually going into an operation and sorts of things. According to that, again, not a doctor, all for entertainment purpose. It's so crazy you have to say that stuff. But yeah, what a crazy world. Just want to share one thing that's interesting to me, that speaking of that, and maybe I'm not supposed to be talking, but there was this story that I heard about this. So there's this, I think it was in America. Well, just imagine it's in America. This Chinese person and American person were talking. Chinese American person and American person were talking, and the person was like talking to the Chinese American person, saying, I'm so fed up with. So the person. The one person was saying, I'm so fed up with the news, and I can't believe this person did that, and this, and the person who I think they had been born in China and came to Japan, or came to America, and they were saying like, wow, I can't believe you still believe in the news in China, where they're as I think when you're very young, you learn like you don't listen to the news, that it's all fake, it's all lies, and I thought that was really interesting. That yeah. But speaking of that, I was just reminded me of like how people used to talk about what's the word, censorship in China, and I was just thinking how funny, it's like it's so bad, the censorship is so bad there, and it really is, but it's not it's, I mean, we're working under the same situation sometimes. It's of course very different, but here this is an American platform, but you actually have to be very careful about what you say, and otherwise you'll lose your channel and these sorts of things. It's such a weird world. And this is, of course everyone knows this already, but it's just kind of popped up again to my mind. Anyway, the point that I wanted to bring about today, though, is just this idea that my mission is, my mission is here. I think at the moment my mission is to clear spaces, and that's what I've been doing. And so it's important to look into the dark. And one thing I wanted to say about looking into the dark is, I think it's important, for myself as well. So you don't look into the dark willy-nilly. You just look when you're guided. You look when you're trying, because if you have a purpose to look within the dark. And so, for example, what my guides were saying, so I'm studying a lot of the symbology in order to help me with my mission. So there's a point to it. It's not just random fascination with it. I'm trying to figure out how to bring these places back to neutral. What I can do as a light worker, what my limits are, what my abilities are as a light worker to bring this energy back to neutral. And so, but that's what my guides had said. So you're looking into this stuff, but some people's goal, like your goal, my goal is to be a light worker. It's not to, I'm not here to be the researcher. There's some people that are here as researchers, and that is their goal. But I'm here to bring the light, to bring the hope. And so they said, for me, just be careful about how deep you go into it, because remember that you are here as a light worker, bringing the light. And so if you can get the information to help you to bring things back to neutral, that's fine, but don't get too sucked into it. I think that's the important thing. I think the point I was trying to say is that these things are happening. It's not like you have to research every single thing, but it's just, I think for me, my personal conviction is it's important to understand the overarching concept. That's all. You don't have to get into all the stuff, but just the overarching concept of what has been going on in our world. And I think that for me was the strong conviction. You don't have to look, because especially now, because there's I think a lot of times there's a lot of sensationalism going on now that everything is kind of public. There's a lot more sensationalism going on, and at times, right. So that's all. But for me, the important thing is to understand the overarching idea, the overarching concept of and it represents this yin and yang symbol, and trying to understand where it's all coming from and why and what's the point behind it, is for me very important. And to understand that it's organized, that all of this stuff that's coming out is very, very much organized, and it's not just about this one person on this one small island. That this is basically the yin and yang. It's and we're just being shown it in this way, that's a storyline that's easier for us to swallow. It looks like a movie. Because if it came out all at once, it would just be too much. But it's like a digestible. Well, it's not. It gives you a lot of indigestion. That's something my guys are talking about. A lot of us are suffering from indigestion because we can't swallow. There's too much stuff to digest. It's like on a spiritual level as well, to transmute. So anyway, I think I've been babbling on for long enough. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys are hopeful, and hopefully I'll see you soon. I'll be uploading some channelings as well soon. But anyway, thanks, Michael, for joining in, and I hope you guys are hopeful. Talk to you soon.